Hi, and welcome to your Urban Connection. And remember, this is the channel that is often imitated, but is never duplicated. Now, you know, tonight I have a very, very unusual, but I feel very necessary program for you. You see, tonight I'm going to talk about DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion. It is under attack, and it's under attack by mostly members of the Republican Party, including a few billionaires. And tonight, I'm going to talk about one billionaire in particular that many of you know by name, but I feel that's about all you know of this individual. And I'm going to give him an education tonight on Black history and Black intelligence. Now, the gentleman that I'm speaking about is none other than South African, born and raised Elon Musk. Now, many of you will know him as the founder, owner, and billionaire manufacturer of Tesla automobiles. But there's a lot more to know about Elon than that. So let's get started. Elon Musk, as I mentioned, was born and raised in Pretoria, South Africa. And if you know anything about South Africa, you know what it stands for and has stood for throughout history: apartheid, racism, discrimination. And it is with that in mind that I want to talk about one Elon Musk. You see, about a month ago, if many of you will remember, there was an airline flying under the Alaska Airlines banner. It was a Boeing airplane, 737 MAX 9. And right after takeoff, the plane experienced a very unusual problem. The rear door of the airplane that was not in use was sucked from the airplane and had to return to the original airport for an emergency landing. Fortunately, nobody was hurt. Now, I don't know what the race of the pilots of this airplane were, but immediately after this incident, Elon Musk issued a statement attacking United States commercial airlines and their hiring of Black airline pilots. Now, let me just say to you that I can understand that coming from South Africa, Elon was not accustomed to seeing Black airline pilots. Because you see, in South Africa, in the part he was growing up in, Blacks were not allowed to be seen or participate in those kinds of positions of authority, positions of power, positions of leadership. Those were not available to Blacks in Elon's South Africa, I mean. So it's understandable that Elon having grown up, raised in South Africa, would have these racist, white nationalist, discriminatory attitudes and thoughts about Black people. Okay? So I want to tell Mr. Elon Musk that before he was even born, the first Black commercial airline pilot in America was hired in 1934. A gentleman by the name of Darrell Green. Now, Elon himself is an immigrant to the United States. And I'm going to tell you how he got here. When Elon was 17 years old, he was about to be drafted into the South African apartheid military. Rather than join the military, he did what a lot of privileged white kids of rich parents did. He found a way to elude the draft and not have to serve in the military. Now, so what Elon did was he chose, rather than to go to the military and fight for his country, he chose to leave that country and immigrate to Canada. This was in 1988. He was young, he was 17. So he comes and he goes to school in Canada. And then in 1992, he decides to immigrate to the United States. Well, he comes to the United States and he finds it to his liking. And he becomes an entrepreneur after college. And he becomes successful. Now, all along, he thought that he could bring along to the United States his attitudes, his racism, his discrimination practices, and make them a part of the United States administration, thought process, and all. So, having seen this airplane, I don't know if he saw it, but having heard of this airplane that had this door, which was not attached to the airplane properly, having seen that sucked off, Elon, in his crazy mind, could only come up with one explanation. And that was to attack the airline industry over their DEI practices. And with no evidence and no data, Elon went back to that racist mind and attitude and engaged his mouth before engaging his brain to utter this. The average American white airline pilot has an IQ of 121. And then he said, the average IQ of an American Black pilot is 86. He went on to say, thereby making them unqualified and unintelligent enough to be airline pilots. And then he said this: what will it take a fatal major airplane crash to wake up the airline industry to realize that Blacks are not qualified to fly airplanes? Now, this is a statement that would come from somebody like Elon when you consider his background. But as I said, The first commercial airline pilot was hired in the United States in 1934. That was well before Elon Musk was ever born. So he had no knowledge and didn't have enough sense to do some research to find out that as of today, and as of the day he made that statement, the commercial airline industry in the United States has now grown its black pilot population to represent about 3.4% of all pilots in the United States that fly commercial airlines. Now, here's where I want to educate Mr. Musk. Elon, you have been in the automobile industry in the United States since about 2012. Now, I want you to tell me where you got the information about the IQ of all American commercial airline pilots, because they don't break it down by race. So you're simply guessing and using your apartheid teachings and preachings. You reach up into thin air and come out with an IQ of 86 for black pilots. Data doesn't show that, Elon. Now, Elon, I noticed that you never mentioned anything about the fact that pilots, black pilots, have been responsible for not a single major airline crash that took the lives of any Americans, or even South Africans for that part. But what you omitted, Elon, was the fact that since 2012, your Tesla automobiles have taken the lives, according to your own data, and this information comes from the Tesla deaths database. Your Tesla vehicles have claimed the lives of 393 people in accidents involving one of your Tesla vehicles. That's since 2012. Elon, since 2009, there has not been one single airline fatality crash in the United States by any commercial jets or commercial airplanes in the United States. That includes those that were piloted by black pilots. So, this makes me question your IQ, Elon. Secondly, Elon, let me remind you that Car and Driver in May of 1922 stated that autopilot cars involved in your Tesla autopiloted cars have been involved in 736 crashes. That's just since 2019, Elon. How many crashes have been involved with U.S. airlines involving black pilots, Elon? You see, this is what you have, ladies and gentlemen, when you have what I call an educated fool making statements in which he knows nothing about the subject matter. Had Elon just taken 5 minutes to do a little bit of Google searching, he could have found out that his words were all lies and all made up. He further went on to assault the HBCUs some of whose graduates apply for and are hired by United States commercial airlines in this country. He stated that those people should not be a part of any DEI and should not be hired by any commercial airline in the United States. You see, that's another racially charged, discriminatory attitude expressed on the part of Elon with nothing to back that statement up, except it's in his apartheid educated brain. Now, let's talk about Tesla. You see, Elon doesn't want to talk about Tesla because Tesla, while occupying only about 2% of the US automobile market, has had more discrimination lawsuits based on race than General Motors, Ford Motors, Chrysler Motors, and any other US manufacturer, all combined. Since 2012, Tesla has had at least 7 lawsuits based on discrimination filed against it. The last one was filed in September of 2023, less than 6 months ago. In that case, a group of Black men and women who have worked at Tesla since 2016 have asked a judge to grant them class action status to pursue claims of racial discrimination, which included being routinely addressed as slave, you people, and much worse. Now, this case was not filed by any individual. This case was filed by the Justice Department, the EEOC. And let me just tell you how widespread this is. Now, this lawsuit says that it's telling that every government agency and workers advocate who looks at the situation has the same reaction. Brian Swartz, an Oakland, California lawyer who represents plaintiffs in the class action suit, said in an email, Tesla's racist harassment and discrimination against Black workers is horrific and unlawful and must be addressed on a systemic, class-wide basis. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I want you to listen to this. Black employees at Tesla's factory in Fremont, California, were addressed with a racial epithet on a daily basis. According to the lawsuit, which was filed by the Commission's San Francisco District Office, racist graffiti, including swastikas and references to the KK Klan, Ku Klux Klan, were scrawled on desks and in bathrooms, in elevators, and even on cars rolling off the assembly lines, the complaint said. And folks, guess what? Mr. DEI, anti-DEI himself, Elon Musk, and other managers witnessed the behavior and failed to stop it, according to the lawsuit. Employees who complained were punished with unpleasant work assignments or fired, the lawsuit said. One Black employee said he had been disciplined for playing music after complaining about the misconduct. Elon Musk, Tesla's chief executive, has said Tesla employees are encouraged to play music on the assembly line and described the company as a fun place to work. The commission's lawsuit asked a federal court in Oakland to order Tesla to stop discriminating and retaliating against Black workers and to compensate workers who have been mistreated. The suit also seeks punitive damages. Now, this all comes after a prior lawsuit in which Tesla was ordered to pay $3.2 million to a Black worker who had previously filed a lawsuit against racial discrimination. So you see, in this particular lawsuit, they clearly state that Tesla has a pattern and a history of racial discrimination and racial retaliation for those workers that speak up. There again, this all goes back to the teachings and preachings in South Africa that Mr. Musk was privy to. Discrimination. The mere fact that in his mind, Blacks are supposed to be subservient to their white masters is uppermost in his mind. That is what he expects his workers at his Tesla manufacturing plant to adhere to. Anything less than that, and you're out of here. Okay? You see, folks, let me just say one thing to you. Tesla and Mr. Musk don't want you to hear about what I'm about to tell you. But the upper echelon people who study and report on the safety and quality of automobiles that are sold in America, almost to a T, each and every one of them will tell you, and I'm talking about people like Edmunds, Car and Driver, Consumer Reports, all of these people will tell you that the Tesla automobile is the worst so-called luxury automobile for sale in the United States. Don't take my word for it. Look it up. Now, there's several reasons they give for that. But the number one reason is poor quality. As a matter of fact, one of them said that while it is sold as a luxury automobile, it is built almost like a kindergartner would build it. Now, that's their words, not mine. Another thing is, for the price you pay, Tesla has the least amount of things that you would find, options that you would find in a luxury car while charging the same or more for competitive products. That's Tesla. Now, let me tell you this. Mr. Musk has exposed himself for who and what he truly is. And if he's done nothing else, the one thing that he's accomplished here with his statements, his attitudes, and the actions of the way in which his manufacturing plants operate, the one thing that he's accomplished is he's convinced me to never, ever spend $1 on a vehicle with the Tesla name attached to it. No siree. No siree. Elon, I have a few words for you. Take your plants, your manufacturing jobs, uproot the United States, and take that crap with your attitude back to where you came from. Sound familiar? I thought it would. You see, Elon, this is America. I suggest the next time that you want to talk about the IQ of someone, you look in the mirror. You see, Elon, if you had an ounce of common sense, you would know that in a commercial airline, along with any airline, any airplane, a pilot sitting in the cockpit has absolute zero control of a door to the aircraft that is located 30 to 40 to 50 feet away from the cockpit. No matter what color he or she is. So that shows your lack of intelligence, Elon. It shows you haven't learned a damn thing since you came to America, except how to con people into buying your inferior, overpriced Tesla products. But you haven't fooled this gentleman. You see, and this Black educator who's educating you is not a part of any DEI, not a part of any special programs. I'm not an employee of anybody, and I cannot be controlled by anybody. And you, sir, have a lot to learn about America. And it seems like since you came here in 1992, you have learned very little about your attitude, your conduct, and your opinions about the IQs of the intelligence of Black Americans, sir. I don't know what school you graduated from, maybe Harvard, but I'm sure you wouldn't find many people at Harvard's administration that would agree with the dumb, idiotic statements and comments that you have made regarding the commercial airline pilots, Black male and Black female, who've been successfully flying Boeing airplanes, for commercial airlines since 1934. But as a racist, you're not interested in finding that out because that goes against everything that you stand for. Because you feel that these jobs of airline pilots should only go to white men. Oh, I see you. I read right through you, sir. I know where you're coming from. I've seen people like you. We even had one in the White House for a short period of time. Okay? Now, you bought Twitter, and that was a major mistake. But you didn't care. You lost money. But you bought Twitter to make it a pipeline for freedom of speech for white nationalists, racists, people like yourself. Some from South Africa, some from the United States and some from other countries. But you seem to have no problem with them posting idiotic statements and comments and racist, discriminatory subject matters on your X, and I now understand why you call it X, formerly known as Twitter platform. Because you are one of them. Okay? All right, folks, that's my show for today, and thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the show, and if you did, hit the subscribe button, ladies and gentlemen, so that you will be available to have, at no cost to you, but you will have these shows each time I record one. You will be notified automatically. Okay? That's my show for today. Thank you for watching.